Hi guys, it's Ian here and welcome back to another video of our ongoing Python series, and today's video is keywords and identifiers. So let's get right into it. First we'll start with keywords. Keywords are those words which have either been reserved in the Python programming language or have been predefined and can't be used to name functions, variables, classes, and so on. And there are currently 36 keywords in the Python programming language, and each of these keywords have their own usages and specific functions for which they can be used or utilized in coding. And here is a list of the keywords of the Python programming language, even though the list only shows 35 keywords, but there are 36 keywords in the Python programming language as of now. There's another way you can check that, so let's see how we do that. So what you can do is you can import a module named keywords, and then you can try to print the list of the keywords available in Python. You can also count the number of keywords that are currently available in the Python programming language, and to do that you can do print and then do another function, another method rather, which is length, and then you can do keywords again, keyword dot key list, keyword list, and we'll save this file and I'll run it, and then I'll run it. Okay, so here we go. Now what we need to do is first let me go to the file folder. Okay, now let me run this file, test1.py. okay, no module named keywords. Okay, we need to remove this as. I'll save it again and then run it again, test1.py. okay, as you can see, this is a list of the complete number of keywords in the Python language, and this is the length of these number of keywords. Even though there are 36, but as you can see on your computer screen, it only shows 35. The reason being, I have not updated my Python to the latest version, so it will only show 35. But I promise you there are 36 keywords in the Python language as of now in 2024. So now let's get back to discussing identifiers. Now, identifiers are those words which you can use to name variables, functions, and so on. And there are some rules that you have to follow and you have to be careful of in order for you to be able to name variables, functions, classes, and whatever data types or data structures that you want to name. So let's see some of these rules one by one and discuss what they're about. So the first rule is that these identifiers cannot be keywords. As we already discussed, that keywords cannot be used to name identifiers, so we cannot use these keywords to name our identifiers. So the next rule that we need to follow is that there shouldn't be any white spaces between while naming the identifiers. So what do I mean by that? Let's see what I mean by that. For example, let's say I name a variable name, and this variable is completely valid because I have not put a space between these letters. Now if I put a space between these letters, which is known as a white space in Python, a normal space is known as a white space in Python. Here, as you can see on your screen, I have put a white space between M and E. So if I assign some value to it and then run it, you'll see we'll get an error. So to check it, rather to verify it, we'll do Python test1.py as usual. As you can see here, it shows invalid syntax. The reason being, we provided a white space between n and m, which we shouldn't have, because the rule clearly says we don't have to provide a white space between identifiers or while naming an identifier. So what we can do is we can rather remove this space and then save it, and this will be a completely valid identifier. We can verify it by running the file again. Okay, I need to print this too. Okay, we'll print this variable. Okay, now let's run it again. As you can see here, this is completely valid. This identifier is completely valid. Now, the other rule for naming an identifier is that you cannot use any special characters for naming identifiers other than the underscore. Now, what do I mean by this? For example, I want to make another variable such as employee ID, right? So if I do this employee ID, or if I do employee ID this is completely valid, because we can use underscore while naming an identifier, but we can't use any other special characters. We can only use an underscore, but we cannot use other special characters, such as, say, if we want to use @ it will give us an error when we run this file. So let me save this file and show you what I mean. So we'll run this file again. As you can see here, we got an error here, invalid syntax, meaning this is not valid. Even if we do it here, it will still give us an error. So, or if we use a pound sign here, we can still face some errors. It will still give us a syntax error. So we'll verify it by running the file again. Test.py. See, the employee ID is not defined. Name employee ID is not defined. So it's giving us an error again. So if we want to do it here, let's see. What this will do, and there is another term for this thing that we did here, so we won't get into that. But what I can tell you is this: you cannot use special characters while naming an identifier. Although you can only use an underscore, but other than that, you cannot use any other special character to name identifiers. Now, the other rule that we need to discuss is that Python, being a case-sensitive language, meaning that, say, we declare a variable name, and we assign it some value Ian, right? Now, if we make another variable of the same spelling, but the difference between these two is that one is name, which is in lowercase, and the other one is capitalized. Now, one thing that I forgot to mention is that when you use an underscore, in naming a variable such as this, or if you want to, for example, do this is the second one is not recommended by convention by the Python programmers or developers, because this is odd and this may cause some problems to your code. There is a reason behind it, and we cannot discuss that here because that is an advanced topic which we will discuss in the near future when we move to object-oriented programming. So we don't need to discuss that right now, but we will in the near future. Now, another rule for naming an identifier is that you can make use of combinations of words and letters to name an identifier. How do we do that? Let's see. Say, for example, you want to declare a variable such as employee ID, or you want to declare a variable, any random variable. For example, we can say age number, or let's talk about your Twitter handle, such as you might have seen in your Twitter handle, such as your usernames being like this, say Ian123, right? This is completely valid in Python because you can use combinations of letters and numbers to name a variable, and this will work completely fine. And if we run this file, you won't get any errors. See, if we do run this file again, you won't get any errors. I forgot to print it, so let's print this variable 123. Let me save this file and then run it again. pytest1.py. As you can see on your screen, that is completely valid, and we can use a combination of letters and numbers to name or declare identifiers. Okay, these were some of the rules that we need to follow when naming or declaring an identifier. So guys, this is it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one. But as usual, before you go, make sure to subscribe to my channel and drop a comment below. I'll see you in the next one.